Kia ora and welcome to the NZAG Conversations on the Couch. My name is Ági Szabó and I'm one of the co-conveners of the conference this year. And today I'm here with our early career keynote speaker, also a very dear colleague, Jess Young. Hi Jess, how
Kia
are
ora,
you?
Ági. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Doing really well. It's just wonderful to be here with you today. Jess, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to do aging-related research?
So my background is in physical education, and I discovered the sociology of health and illness through my honours and master's research. And then I was fortunate to land a job at the Otago Medical School working with Professor Chris J, who's done some aging research, and we were working on a project about communities of care and how were people living well and who was helping them to live well in the community with multiple chronic conditions, looking at all of that community around a person. And that got me really interested in aging and sort of what was the end point of all of that care and end of life care. And then the assisted dying debate erupted with the Lucretia Seals court case, and I just found that fascinating. And so that's how I wound up here researching end of life and assisted dying.
Oh, wow, that's a really kind of big and important topic, and doing that, as an early career researcher as well. Obviously, this is a really topical thing for us in Aotearoa right now. What do you think are some of kind of the main related pressing issues for people in today's society as they navigate aging, either in Aotearoa, New Zealand, or more globally?
I'm experiencing this with my dad at the moment, who's needing some extra support at home. And I think access to high quality, supportive and end of life care for people as they age and want to age in place in their own homes is a big pressing issue, and access to that care. For thinking about navigating aging, one option for people is assisted dying, and my postdoctoral fellowship is actually called Navigating Assisted Dying, so it's a nice tie in there with that theme. Of course, people who use assisted dying tend to be older, so I think people's awareness of that this exists and their access to that service and their ability to access that information are issues for people.
Mm. From your own work, what do you find as one of the biggest challenges for people in terms of accessing this care currently in Aotearoa?
So one of the main safeguards in the Act is that a health professional or health practitioner cannot raise assisted dying as an option to people. So it has to be the person's own idea, which makes sense in some respects, but in other respects, it creates a barrier for people if they don't know that this is an option, but they may wish to take it. And they might assume that their doctor is going to raise assisted dying as an option if they were eligible, or perhaps they're not just clued in on the referendum debate that took place in 2020. So there's a number of safeguards, but together they can potentially act as barriers for people.
Yeah, and I assume this is something that you will talk a little bit about in your keynote. So could you give us a little bit of a sneak peek into your presentation? What are you going to share with the audience?
Well, I am going to share some of the preliminary findings from our Health Research Council funded study that's so far interviewed 90 people about assisted dying, so patients, family members, assisted dying providers, conscientious objectors, and so on. So all of the different people involved across the assisted dying process. And we're looking at that in terms of the values or policy goals that were stated in the Act. So safety, access, and equity, and how the assisted dying legislation and the service that's been put in place and whether it's meeting those goals.
Mm. Wow, that's super exciting, and I'm so thrilled that you can present and share your work with us at NZAG this year. And I'm sure that a lot of people in the audience, policymakers, practitioners, researchers, will be interested in your findings and your talk. And other than giving your exciting keynote talk, why are you looking forward to attending NZAG? What are you hoping to get out of this conference?
Well, it feels like a really nice closing of the loop. So the NZAG conference in 2014, when it was one of the very first conferences that I attended early on in that research assistant role that I mentioned about the communities of care and presented that research. So it's really exciting to return and as an early career researcher Keynote. So thank you for the invitation. I'm also going to be running a workshop for early career researchers about sharing their research in different ways, so online, in the media and so on. And so I've got some tips for early career researchers about that. But I'm just looking forward to seeing you, of course, but to connecting to fellow researchers and learning more about aging research and what goes on outside of that end of life space that I'm so engrossed in.
Wow, wonderful. We are so lucky to have you, Jess, and looking forward to your talk and your workshop and conversations during lunch breaks and tea breaks. So thank you again and see you in a couple of months.
See you soon. Ka kite.
Ka kite.